What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Just got finished doing my live stream, and I'm sure you guys have seen at least clips of Tyree Nichols being beaten to death by the police. It's crazy if you go on Twitter, it's tribalism both ways and things. And I don't care what anybody may have done, because I've seen so many people that say, if you just complied, well, resisting arrest, regardless, because we don't have all of the things that I got. Okay, I'm trying to keep peace. Resisting arrest shouldn't end up being a death. Just shouldn't. And a traffic stop shouldn't end up being a death. It just shouldn't. And I'm sorry, people trying to justify a beating like that, come on, let's be real. That's a human being there. That's a human being. I pray that calmer heads will prevail, and we don't have to see things like that happening. I just pray that it doesn't. It's just disturbing. We've gotten to the point where we don't even think of people as human beings anymore. We just figure it's an everyday occurrence. So now lives don't matter when they really should. It was right about this time, 20 years ago, that I made a connection on Match.com that turned out to be a person that I knew back in college, Tracy. And we got on the phone about 10:30 at night, about this time, 20 years ago. So I'm going to try and get this video in and get in and spend time with my beautiful wife. We talked for hours, catching up with each other. We had lunch the next day, and it was wonderful. And my wife said it's so good and patted me on the back to see my friend Mark. Friend? We in friend zone? I looked at her, I said, I ain't going nowhere. And I didn't. A couple weeks later, we were dating. A couple months later, I had sold my house, and we bought this one. And we have been here. We have raised our kids together. And we have had a wonderful life. A wonderful life. And I realize how blessed I am to have found her. And so, tomorrow night, we won't be doing the Zoom call stream. Taking my wife out to dinner, spend good time with her at a great restaurant and stuff. I could get reservations for later, so our reservations are actually at 4:30, but we're going to have a nice time. But I was sitting here thinking about the Kellen Moore situation, And in my mind, I keep wondering it's like, why haven't the Cowboys used the West Coast offense, which is something Mike McCarthy has known all his life? All his life. He deferred to Kellen Moore. And I realize why that is. Because the problem is, it hit me tonight during the live stream. The problem is when he was hired, Kellen Moore was entrenched. Kellen Moore was Jerry Jones's guy. And he couldn't fall on his sword and say, I don't want to do this, because he just got here, that this is Jerry's guy. So what he had to do was he had to let him fail or not be quite as shiny. That's why we always heard, like at the end of last year, well, have you ever thought about doing the play calling? The installer does the play calling. Kellen Moore installs. Look at that guy for the failures. This year he said, Kellen Moore gets a little, pass happy and rambunctious and things. So we'll kind of go over it, but not taking it over. Maybe, I'll tell you what, let me give you a better example of what he has actually done. There's a television show out now called The Accused. The first episode of that, it was this brain surgeon who had a son who was crazy. He had, like as a child, a bird in a box that he was killing that was his prisoner and stuff. And he was always having problems relating to people. The father understood, this child has got issues. When he talked to the mother's like, oh, no, you're crazy. You just don't spend enough time with him. You just don't believe in him. It's everything else. It's not him. It's not him. And in the show, the kid ends up getting semi-automatic weapons with his friend. They go to school and they shoot up and they kill students. In the end, you find out that, the father was actually contemplating, when he knew his son was going to do crazy things, killing his son. The mother finds out that his father had been contemplating doing that. And she said, were you going to kill him? He kind of doesn't say anything. And she says, I wish you had, in order to have stopped him killing all these other people. And that's kind of like what Mike McCarthy's had to do. See, if Mike McCarthy had taken over the play calling and the team failed, then he's the guy that's going to get blamed. By letting Kellen Moore do it and fail, it opens up the Joneses' eyes to say, he's not the guy to do it. Mike, what are the solutions? Now, Mike McCarthy is in a position of power because Kellen Moore, you look at it and say, well, Dak has been pretty good, but not good enough. Kellen Moore, that last muddle huddle play, I don't know about that, Jerry. Maybe what we need to do, Jerry, is we need to start over. We need to get a change in some of these coaches, because we need to go from just a ground and pound to more of a West Coast offense. We're going to need to get ourselves another couple of receivers that are really good. We're going to get another dynamic back, and we're going to change the stuff up. And that's what I believe is actually going on right now. The fact that Kellen Moore, that they haven't said Kellen Moore is coming in. Kellen Moore might be coming back. He might be. But I don't think it's going to be carte blanche if he is. It's going to be, Mike McCarthy, you got to go ahead and marry your offense and work with him. Or Kellen Moore, if you don't want to work with Mike McCarthy, then hit the road, Jack, and don't come back. But we have to have some change in what we're doing. And what we also have to do is, we have to look at this from the standpoint of, remember where we were last year. We were the joke of the NFL in the offseason. They literally said we deconstructed the team. We got rid of free agents. We were looking at Jalen Tolbert, a third-round pick, to replace Amari Cooper. We re-signed Michael Gallup on one leg, knowing that he wasn't going to be ready to start training camp. We got rid of Lyle. We got rid of Connor Williams. Randy Gregory, basically laughed at us and went to Denver to smoke some weed. We were a mess this offseason. And if you remember all that, you actually look at this team and say this team actually overachieved with what happened last year. Now, my hope is that the Joneses say, well, damn, if we had made a couple of moves here and there, we might have actually been playing this weekend. And that they finally decide we need to push the chips in. We have to recognize that we can't just get better solely through the draft. It's not enough picks. And that's my hope. So I am glad to be home. I'm glad to be here with my wonderful wife. And I'm going to go show her how much I appreciate being with her and living this life and growing old together. And I hope that we can grow much, much older together. But tomorrow's not guaranteed. So make sure you tell the people you love them. You might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. And God willing, I'll be here tomorrow to tell you again. I appreciate y'all. Oh my Lord, 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 Lord. Oh my Lord, 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 Lord.